Hi, welcome back to Dow Twang. I'm Dave. We've got a 12 bar pattern here. It's kind of a rhythm groove that I'm going to show you. And it's a 12 bar in A, but it's got kind of a southern country rock feel, I guess, to the rhythm parts. And I'm going to show you a few of these little riffs that are in that intro. Didn't use a backing track or a drum loop or anything on this because we want to be able to just stop and have you stop and do whatever you want, slow down, work on it, park the video, work on a lick, turn it back on. You know, don't worry about keeping it all up to speed all at once. Now, um, this is going to be mostly demonstration, not as much, explanation today. But there's a couple things I want to mention about it. Sometimes in a 12 bar pattern, we're in A. Um, Sometimes the one chord is the first four measures fully, like okay, before it goes to the four chord um, for two measures, and so on, just like the regular pattern. Sometimes though, it goes up to the four chord for measure two, and then back to the one for measures three and four, like this. Then it returns to the kind of the normal format, right? So this is one of those where it does go up on measure two. The other thing is that when you're moving around with this rocker lick, I call it, and it's just kind of, you know, and switching, shapes. You're gonna get a lot of artifacts when you move your hand, right? You're gonna get stuff that's not exactly what you planned, right? You're not gonna be able to neatly finish off every last little note right here perfectly and then move it because you don't have time. This hand's got to be moving, and this one's got to, the train's got to keep rolling, right? And so that junk, I call it, um, is let it all happen, right? And junk is not a bad thing. I can't tell you how many times I was recording something, at a session or working with somebody and been like, oh man, I'm sorry, that was sloppy. I'll fix it. Let me do it again. And they're like, no, dude, that, great. Move on. Next song. Uh, and you learn after a while that they're not listening to this. That's just guitar players listening to other guitar players. They're not doing that, right? They're not sitting there. They're not into this granular, thing about every little thing. They just listen to it like a musical listener, like a listening ear. Like, it sounded cool. What a great lesson. It takes a long time to let go of all of that when you're playing, working for other people. So um, here's what I mean. See, there's just all kinds of different stuff. Sometimes he play like the open A string, and sometimes it'd be like some of these strings would pop in there. Don't worry about it. The important thing is to keep this moving, right? Because if you break into this, then you lose it. You lose the listener, right? But not because you played. I meant to play this note and I ended up playing a harmonic instead. That is not a mistake. Okay. So all that being said, let's just kind of go through here. Now, a good warm up on this, if you're not used to playing just kind of, that rocker rhythm. So now we've got, you know, that's your basic format. And if you notice in my picking hand, it was mostly downstroke. I think all of it. Okay. But when you start getting into some of this, a little bit of this chicken head, right? It's the picks start. Some of them are up strokes, and some of them are like on the, not just the one and two and chomp chomp chomp, right? Do it however you want, right? Some folks can still they can kind of double up and still use more downstrokes, but still get all that stuff in there. I just have kind of a looser back and forth. You could also use like a little bit of a chicken picking thing. All right. Whatever works for you. Um, Again, the important thing is to just kind of stay, in that perpetual, movement. Now, see, there I just go back to the kind of the simple rocker lick. Now, I like that. I like doing kind of a little syncopation, a little more of a chicken head thing down here on that A, and put in the. Then go right up here, go right back to the. Okay. So you can see now that, you want to paint on a, solid background, right? Or whatever at first, right? Just get that 12 bar pattern going with that kind of. Get used to letting this hand perpetually move and letting this one move around and kind of just letting all the in-between stuff happen. Then, if you notice, most of my riffs, most of the stuff that's a little more styled out occurs on the A. There's that kind of cheap sunglasses type sound, right? That you get that minor pentatonic thing kind of worked in there with that A major chords. See, there was some junk right there. I meant to go. I think I went. Well, now I can't. Yeah, I can't repeat the jump. Yeah, I just I hit that D string instead of that octave A. It's all good, right? It wasn't worth stopping for or redoing that part of the video or whatever, right? So I let those kinds of events stand on these videos a lot so that you can kind of say, all right, well, I'm just not going to worry about all that stuff either, right? I'm just going to play the song, right? So on the D's and the E's, I'm basically just doing the rocker. Right. There's a little bit of a syncopation on that last part. Doesn't matter if you're up, down. It's just, put those accents in there. If you get to where, you're not as comfortable kind of like just with that open policy of your pick movement. You're like, no, that I want the emphasized one to be a downstroke or whatever. Well, then stop and work that out in your own way. That's good work. That will make the difference between your sound and my sound or somebody else, right? Um, but I just keep hammering this on this video today. It's just the main thing is to get into a routine at first where you can go right through, start right back at the beginning, right through again, and just keep doing it. And then after a while, you can stop and really work stuff out. When I made that intro, I taped it a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, because I was like, no, I want to put. One time I'd go, and I was like, yeah, that's okay, but maybe I want to do the bend first. And I was like, yeah, I like that better or something, or I want to give more of a variety of, switching it up. And that's really what's going on. The D and the E are kind of just, in that A chord, every time that comes around, that's your chance to. See, hopefully that kind of you watch that intro at first, you're like, oh, do I need to go note for note on this? Then you look at it the way that we just went through it. It's like, oh, I see. It's pretty much just that simple 12 bar rocker deal, but on the A, there's like 2 or 3 moves that are interchangeable. I could put them in different parts of my own arrangement, right? That's really where it's at. Hopefully this helps. Let me know how it goes for you. Appreciate all of you. See you next time.